My name is Snape Mar. My company that I co-founded is called Lucky. And what we do is we connect a brand's retail inventory to their D2C site. So it's interesting, on the competition side, there's a lot of companies out there that are focused on micro distribution, owning their own supply chain. Well, we talk to brands like, hey, as a brand, the only two things you should care about is content and distribution. I still remember our first yes. I remember every yes we've received. For every yes you hear, you probably hear 50 no's, which I'm sure every founder thinks about that. I mean, basically it showed me not that our product was where it needed to be, not that our traction was where it needed to be, but it showed us that our team, like myself, my co-founder, who were building this, grinding every day to make this dream reality. People saw that they could trust us, and they saw us as people that could actually build this company and scale it in the right way. So I think what was really interesting about that first couple yeses, it was 100% team-based. I would argue very hard that any investor that was in the first 10 investors invested because of the idea. I think that's a very difficult decision because most ideas change within the first 1 to 3 years of a company being alive. Questions that investors asked us, there were so many. One was how viable is this? Is the market ready? Why can't someone do this themselves? We were fortunate enough, there was a lot of headwinds and the timing was perfect. A lot of the data and inventory systems that were so outdated, these major retailers needed to update them during the pandemic because people wanted to buy locally and they wanted to do BOPIS, buy online, pick up in store, click and collect, and they didn't have that before. They do now. And we actually sit on top of those systems for these retailers. So timing-wise, it worked out really, really great for us. We just kept going at it. Every time we get an investor push back, we went out and built to make that one of our strengths. We've actually known and been part of Plug and Play for a while. We were part of the 2 of their batches previously. Recently, they just came on board as an investor, which we're excited to have them for. And I think one of the things that Plug and Play saw in us was really just since we were working with these larger brands, retailers, that's kind of what Plug and Play's bread and butter is, these large corporate partnerships and adding value to their corporate partners. I would say talk to as many people as possible. You never know who might be an investor. We were doing advisory meetings and one of them actually turned out to be one of our first angel investors. I would say just stay persistent. I think the number one reason companies die is because people quit too early. I think people don't realize that whatever they're working on at that early of a stage is probably gonna shift. So don't be too glued to the concept you're building. I would say just keep talking to your customer demo. So whoever you're trying to sell for or build a product for, continue to talk to them and understand what their pain points are and see how your product fills that need or how you can reinvent your product to fill that need. Look for good partners. Find partners that will help build this with you. Not necessarily they're in the trenches every day, but that they're willing to get on phone calls, willing to work with you to pivot. You don't want really stringent investors that are just pushing you for one thing only. You want them to see your growth and opportunity as you pivot as well. Startup founders and founders in general that want to get engrossed into the Plug and Play community, I would say, Plug and Play here, at least in the Valley, throws a bunch of events, right? They have offices around the world. I would say just reach out. They're very open people. They're one of the most open and to conversations or just bounce around ideas. So I would say just chat with them, get to know them. And then as they get to know you, they'll start seeing your progress. There's that saying, right? Investors don't invest the first time they meet you, they invest after multiple meeting points. And then there's a time came where partners and corporates that Plug and Play works with align so perfectly with our current product that they're hey, we'd love to invest in your current round.